What the heck? I don't know what that was all about. The camera just turned off for no reason. Maybe it does not like this cooler weather. Anyhow, down here at the farm, 1.4 inches of rain. So that is really not that bad. I had 1.6 inches. Let me get out of the wind here. I don't know what's going on with this camera. I had 1.6 inches at my house yesterday. It didn't start raining until about 3:30 yesterday afternoon, and by 10 o'clock it was all over with, and it was really just 2 thunderstorms that rolled through. We did not have that long steady rain like a lot of other places did, so it really wasn't that bad. We've got wind today, actually more wind today than yesterday, coming out of the north, probably 10 to 15 miles, maybe up to 20 miles an hour. As I said, has made it much cooler. 75 degrees, much less humidity, so this is great. I can deal with this. I've got some straw to put on and deliver. Got a political fundraiser we're attending this afternoon. One of my elected officials who helped me during our issues with the health department, he's doing a fundraiser this evening. I did a sponsorship with him, got some tickets. We're going, taking my employees with me. Have some food, fun, music, and alcohol, adult beverages, I should say. Then this weekend, on Saturday, I'm excited about this. I have been asked to participate in a podcast. A local person who is doing some podcasts, starting his own podcast channel, has asked me to come participate in one of his podcasts. So I'm doing that on Saturday. I don't listen to podcasts. I don't really know what they're all about, but I'm excited about this. This is great. Don't know what the topic is going to be. I told him I would be happy to do it as long as we don't talk about sports. I'm not a sports person, don't know a lot. I just don't keep up on sports, but I can talk about anything else. So we'll see. I'm anxious to see how this goes. All right, let me get this straw on, and then I've got to stop by the hardware store and do a few things, and then get all prettied up for the political fundraiser this evening. We've got a state highway widening project about a mile south of the farm happening here. I guess it's probably going to take them 12 to 18 months, maybe longer than that, to put shoulders on the road. It probably involves about 3 miles, but they've been using a lot of straw down there. The good news is they don't mind taking these bales that have been on the ground. So what we do is put a row of bales on the side across the bottom, and of course those bales get a little damp, soaking up the moisture from the ground, and they get just they don't look the best. I can't really sell them at the hardware store. The road crew, I've given them a good discount on these bales, and the road crew, they can use them. They don't mind them, so that's great. So I'm going to load up these bales and take them down to them, but I don't have much straw left. May have enough to get me through the fall, but that's going to be it. So I haven't decided if I'm going to go find some locally and buy to resell at the hardware store, or just leave it be until next year. We'll see. I haven't made that decision yet. Let's see how much longer this lasts. But the road crew, they're using, I don't know, probably 50 bales a week, so they could probably wipe me out of this in the next couple of weeks if they wanted to. So we'll see how that goes. So this part of the road here, we have shoulders on the road, but these shoulders end right up here. And so for the next 2 miles, 2, maybe 3 miles down to the state park, it's just a 2-lane road, no shoulders. So we've got a lot of campers and boats that travel this road, and you know, it has been very few issues. Maybe once every 5 years a camper will run off the road into the ditch. Might be an accident, but very seldom does that happen. And the worst of our traffic is only from Memorial Day to Labor Day, but you know, the state thought they had to spend millions of dollars to put shoulders on the road for the last 3 miles here in order for these boats and campers to travel safely. Well, all that's going to do is increase the speeds on the road. And is it going to be any safer? I doubt it. So the locals do complain that when traffic backs up going into the state park, then they can't get down to their houses, and so shoulders would help. I better pay attention or I will be the one in the ditch. But as far as the traffic backup, that's an issue with the state park, that they don't know how to handle the crowds, and I guess there's no way to U-turn the people easily. I don't really know. I've never figured that part out. It's just something we deal with. But anyway, spending millions to put some shoulders in here. Okay, we've got two memorials here. So this is the Point Lookout Confederate Memorial Park. So this is a private memorial here. And then here we have the federal memorial. And so the reason for the private memorial, if you remember a number of years ago, the government came out and said, we cannot put any Confederate flags on any U.S. government property. So there's a lot of history at Point Lookout with the Confederate prisoner camp and blah blah blah. So the Confederate Memorial had to take down the Confederate flag. So a bunch of guys got together, and gals as well, I assume, and said, you know what, we're going to put up our own memorial so we can fly the Confederate flag. So they bought the property and erected their own memorial next to the federal memorial. So very good for them.
And boy, do we need that now more than ever. Too many Republicans go to office and they immediately forget who they are, and they forget, more importantly, who you are. And we are the party of the blue-collar men and women. We are the party. That is our party. That is who Matt is. That's who I am. That's who Deb is. That's who Jerry is. All of us started from nothing. From nothing. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to introduce to you the host of this incredible party. Ladies and gentlemen, my great friend, Delegate Matt Morgan. Here he is.
That is an introduction there. I got a new program. You know, behind every good man is a better woman. That's true. My wife, Kathy, she does our everything, man. Really, the graphics to, she's my treasure. And I'll tell you, one important fact, she's really proud of herself because she just had Peter Ducey follow her on Twitter. So if you need a stump Joe Biden, she's your contact right there. Over the last 7 years, man, we passed a lot of legislation for our county commissioners. A lot of stuff. And we've also repealed some of the most cumbersome bills too. So we've been really successful. And I think the reason why is y'all, not necessarily me, you. Let me explain. See, if you follow me on Facebook, if you get my newsletters, if you watch my floor speeches, I'm far from being a risk-adverse politician. I believe that you need to come out and talk about what you believe in and advocate for that. And it was self-evident under COVID. You know, where we have business owners here, we're like, you know, give me a really big compliment saying, hey, Matt, you're the only person that ever calls us back. You're the only person that sticks up for us. And that meant a lot to me, because to me, there is no substitute for courage to speak about your convictions. And I don't mind taking the slings and the arrows from the back row. I don't mind taking the negative media. And I'm always a top target of the left. I'm okay with that, because when it gets down to it, I know that you all have my back. And I just want to say thank you for that. Sincerely.
It is Labor Day weekend. Wow, it's a beautiful weekend. It's Saturday afternoon, 75 degrees, low humidity. Yeah, this is great weather for a holiday weekend. I am headed to do my first podcast. I am excited about this. Invited to do a podcast. I've never done one of these before, so this will be quite exciting and interesting. Let's see how this goes.
I have, I think, 4 topics. I wrote some notes on some of the stuff I wanted to get through. But thank y'all for coming. Let's get right into it.
How close do we have to be? Am I good enough here?
Yeah, you can go just a little bit. It's fine. I tested it out, and everything sounded good.
You gonna do a sound check real quick?
I already went through that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just do the intro, and then today I'm going to start out with a quote, and then do the intro, and then we're going to go into it.
How do you want to do it? Like one star? You can ask a question.
I'll probably just
bounce back and forth.
Yeah, I'm just going to read this quote, say welcome back to the Flex Podcast, and then introduce y'all, and we'll roll right into it. To use offensive words and phrases to convey political messages, to engage in symbolic speech. What is the right of freedom of speech? Welcome back to the Flex Podcast, episode 18. We have 2 amazing people on the podcast. Keith is back on here, and we have another new person, my cousin Donnie. And we're going to go through a lot of stuff to get and see if we can figure it out. So let's get right into this. Thank y'all for coming out here and doing this podcast with us, or with me. The first topic I wanted to touch on is freedom of speech. So before we get into it, just what do you guys think freedom of speech means?
Well, freedom of speech is subjective. It's been reinterpreted hundreds and hundreds of times by the Supreme Court, and it seems to change as society evolves. My personal feeling about freedom of speech is lack of censorship. And we're living in an era of major censorship because of social media and mainstream media and corporate media that's extremely powerful. So I think that as society evolves, freedom of speech is subject to interpretation, but it's very, very dangerous to have powerful entities censoring the public. That's where I stand on it.
Oh, I would agree with you absolutely, Keith, on that. It's as far as the Constitution goes, I think it's very limited as far as what is not allowed, such as screaming fire in a theater. I mean, that's the only example I can come up with,
Right.
because that's the one that's used all the time. But
Right.
I mean, otherwise, it's wide open, in my opinion, as far as what can be said.
Right.
And as Keith alluded to, the censorship that big tech is doing right now, it is hurting this country, in my opinion. It's going to be part of the downfall of this country. One of the blocks that I think is just going to take the country down.
Right.
To have what 2 big tech companies, Facebook and Google, to be able, and Twitter, I guess as well, to be able to control the narrative, that just pisses me off.
Yeah.
that
And
they're
it's,
able to
I
do
hate
that.
to use the word all the time, but it is Orwellian. It's something you read about in 1984, and you said to yourself, oh, that could really never happen. No, it's here.
Right.
And it's a lot more scary when they're in cahoots with the federal government.
Oh, yes.
When they have one political side that can dominate thought, they can dominate laws, they can dominate everything. I mean, I can tell you this, if you post something on Facebook right now about COVID, even if it's a silly meme, on your page, or that you sent out, they now will put an advisory, they will counteract what you said about COVID, and they will make you have to read a list of where you can get vaccines, misinformation. I sent out a silly meme that was absolutely harmless not too long ago, and I opened Facebook back up the other day, and they had a thing about misinformation on there. They said I was partly true. Partly true. That was the wording. You were partially true.
Hold on one second.
On what you said.
Has this not been recorded? Oh no, it's not been recorded. I am so sorry.
Oh, good.
Because I had to restart it. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
That's
All right,
okay.
hold on one second.
Damn, we're so elegant too.
I had it because
Take
I
two.
did it.
We got it on there. That's all that matters.
Welcome back to the Flex Podcast, episode 18. We got a good one today. We got my Uncle Keith back on again. We have my cousin Donnie. It's gonna be a good one. Let's get right into it. When you guys hear the word freedom of speech, like we were talking about before, you talk about social media, you talk about all these things. When someone says, what does freedom of speech mean to you? What key things come to your mind first? But we look at Russia and China, the two biggest countries. We don't ever, they can do anything they want to us.
Yeah.
We will sit there and just, okay, well, we'll give them that little warning. We're not going to do anything.
Well, no, Joe Biden's not going to do anything. They couldn't do anything they wanted when Trump was in. They knew better.
Yeah, but they still got away with a lot of stuff.
Sure.
Though.
I mean, you can't have a nuclear war.
No. But I'm just saying, think about China. They got us so good that we are still dealing with it right now, with the masks, wearing masks, with the vaccines. You really
You know you're not
think-
allowed to say that outside of here, right?
I'm just saying though, but it's
Don't say that on Twitter. It's true, but don't say it.
Yeah, but I'm not saying it's a proven fact but I'm almost 100%
I'm
sure
not saying
that
they
happened.
did it on purpose, but once it was out, they looked at it as a weapon.
And
they
all
allowed
of a sudden,
travel.
and I don't know if you guys remember, but all of a sudden it was like a month later. They're like, "Oh, we're improving. We have our rates are going down, and all of this."
Right.
Come on now. Well, I appreciate y'all for coming on. This has been an amazing podcast. As you can hear, the dog's excited about it too,
Yes.
right? Appreciate y'all for coming on, and we
fun,
will
man.
see
Hey,
you
it's
guys.
been fun. I've
It's
enjoyed
good
it.
to have
Yes.
somebody
Thanks.
that,
Yeah, new people.
knows what he's talking about.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, you do.
But we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.
All right. Now, the checks are going to be made out to...
Gonna need your address.
You know what I enjoy doing now? Every night at 10 o'clock, Johnny Carson reruns. Come
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And
What do you see that on now? Oh, I know what it is. It's on...
It's on cable. It's 125.
Okay.
I forget what the station is.
No, I got it on
Is
no, I got it on one of the Netflix. I got that. I can just watch.
okay,
They just
okay.
got episodes.
Okay.
That's what
no.
I see.
Well, they try to pick an episode that is close to the same day today is.
Right,
So
right. They do the same
September
thing.
4th, 1984, or something
Right.
like that.
What was happening on that day
Yes.
30, 40 years
But
ago?
I mean, that's why I stopped watching late night comedy, because it got so political. You could watch Johnny Carson. He does his opening monologue. He may hit on 2 points of political stuff that happened that day,
Right.
but otherwise, it's just comedy and it's
Topical.
entertainment. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But one of the things I've noticed over the last couple of weeks that he's been talking about, and this was from the 80s, he comes on and he talks about, oh my God, the heat today. You poor guys that had to stand in line. We are running in, it's drought, and this
Right.
is the worst weather we've ever had.
Right,
We've got
right.
wildfires in here in California.
Right.
And you're like,
Right.
wait a minute.
Right.
This was 30-some years ago.
Exactly.
Talking about the air quality,
Oh.
pollution.
Much
out there.
worse back then in California.
Yes. I'm like, wait a minute, but we didn't call it global or
Right.
climate change or global warming.
We
back
called it
then.
weather.
We called it weather.
Climate.
It's just so funny to watch that.
You're bombarded now with it, so it seems worse.
Mhm.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
when you have a situation like COVID, all other diseases have disappeared
Yeah,
now.
that's
We just
right.
associate it with COVID.
Yeah.
Anytime something happens, it's global warming.
Right.
Global warming. I mean, they're getting so silly to where it doesn't even have to do with weather,
Right.
and they're blaming it on global warming. That's how
Right,
crazy.
I know.
You go back and watch a show like Johnny Carson, and we had this, not now. There's a lot, things are a lot worse nowadays, but we had the same amount of problems back then. They were just different, and we weren't bombarded with them. You know, the information age hadn't hit yet, so you're not saturated with the crap 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
But he's right. I think about that every time I watch something like that. It's different, but it's the same
Yes.
things that are happening. Like, oh man, God.
And then some, not that his comments were bad to some of the women that came on, but just some of his subtle comments about women.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and their beauty or how they looked or something.
And they weren't offended.
No,
they were sitting here and joke
they
with
weren't.
him.
And you look at it now and you're like, oh my God, the cancel culture would take him down right now if he said that.
Well, you can be very rude and almost grotesque about certain things now that you could never say then. But you can't. But it's like you live in this camp, this concentration camp. You're only allowed to be really bad over here.
Right.
Over here, your career's over.
Uh-huh.
Charlie Rose was a great interviewer. I forgot something stupid he did, something that was inappropriate, I guess. Gone. You'll never see him. Look at all these politicians and Matt Lauer, gone.
Right.
You know, and I'm sure they were assholes behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But it's so weird. You can be violently comic, and say some of the worst things you could ever say, and then but if you say the wrong thing about in the woke age, you're done.
Well, of course.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Those shows I love to watch them.
Yeah.
It's a good escape.
It is. Yeah, it sure is. Especially after you watch,
I'll
5
tell you
hours
what,
of news.
you want to make your teacher's head spin? Maybe when you start talking about comedy from 30 to 40 years ago, bring some Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor. In fact,
Oh, yeah.
in fact, I'll send you something. Yeah, you can go right on YouTube, I'm sure, and get them. And funny.
Hey, I just finished doing my first podcast. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. There were 2 of us as guests for the podcast. The other person, Keith, he actually worked for me when I owned the grocery store. He was our butcher at the grocery store, worked for us full time. So I've known Keith. I actually knew Keith before the grocery store. Kind of grew up together in the same area. Wow, he knows quite a bit when it comes to politics. He knows what he's talking about. Very level-headed. I actually look dumb next to him, I think. But hey, I had a lot of fun doing that. Anxious to see if I'm invited back, if I met Jason's standards or not. But it was a lot of fun. I'll post the link down in the description. You can look it up. It's called The Flex Podcast. FLEX, The Flex Podcast with Jason Raley. Yeah, a lot of fun. So hope to do it again. Let's check the mailbox here, see how many bills we got today. Hey, only one. Nope, that's not even a bill. So that's great. Okay, I think I'm gonna go home and cut the grass now because it needs to be cut after all of this rain that we've had. So I guess until next time, see ya. See ya.